Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another fun hour of class here with Michael Stores and Faber-Castell USA. My name is Leibella Ralston. I'll be your class instructor for today. To everyone who's new here, hello and welcome. And to some familiar names, hello and thank you for being here and joining us this afternoon. So today this is the first time that we are going to be creating with this medium. I have been teaching classes for Faber-Castell for the last 2 years, and I can't believe that this is the first time we'll be playing with some oil pastels. All right, so today we are going to be painting the Northern Lights, or at least an impressionistic version of the Northern Lights. I'm really not a realism. I don't paint realism. It's not that I don't like it. I guess I don't prefer it. It's not my favorite. But I love using the pastel. I've been playing with the oil pastels and I've been playing with the gelatos. And then I'm like, why don't I try the oil pastels? How come I never reached out for it? So I'm like, okay, I'll started playing with it. And I really love the impressionistic look. And it's almost like very freeing to use oil pastel. So I'd love to know if you have, a lot of experience with this medium. I'd love to know your what is your preference? If you can choose like one medium to use, what would it be? Would it be watercolors? Would it be markers, alcohol markers, oil pastel, or the gelatos? Many different types. All right, so I have in front of me are two different types of pastels because I get this question a lot. What is the difference from the soft pastel and the oil pastels? Now, the quick comparison to that one is that the soft pastel is kind of like the chalk. When you pick it up, they're both very messy to use, but I find the soft pastel is even more messier because it's like chalky. So you get those dust and all that. It gets all over the place. The oil pastels are very similar to the gelatos. They're creamy, but the gelatos are much creamier. The oil pastels are a creamy consistency also. So that's the difference between the soft pastels and the oil pastels. And trust me, we're going to be creating future classes with the soft pastels too. So watch out for that one. All right. So in front of me is the 12 metallic colors. So I'm going to open them. I have been playing around with them. My table was a mess earlier because I was playing around with it. Okay, so I'm going to see some of the chat, make sure I don't miss your questions. Hello, everybody. Oh, I didn't get a chance to say hello to everyone. Hello, friends from Virginia. We have some friends from Florida. We have some friends from Panama. Hello, my neighbor Tina from Austin. Hello, LJ from Seattle. Hello, everybody. Some good friends from New York as well. Okay, so I'm gonna grab some watercolor paper in here because that is what I have, a mixed media paper. If you have a mixed media. Now, if you don't have the oil pastel, I did receive a message on Facebook looking for the oil pastel in the store. Sometimes it's quite difficult to find. But if you have some gelatos, you may definitely use your gelatos. All right. So the difference from the oil pastel and the gelatos is that the gelatos are water soluble. So we've played around with the gelatos, many different classes. So we've learned how to blend them. The technique that we're going to be using today is very similar because we're going to do a lot of smudging. But before we do any smudging, I'd like to show you the oil pastel first in action. Just a quick run through so we can understand. Like the gelatos, you can blend this many different ways. So you can apply it directly onto your page using a silver one. Let me see. Like this, right? And then I'm going to use a purple color. So you can smudge. Look at this. They're very easy to smudge and blend. And this is the technique that we'll be doing today. So you can use that. I also have some Q-tips in here. There are some paper stumps that you can use. There's also like very dense sponges that you can use to blend them if you don't want to mess if you don't want to deal with the mess. But you know me, I love happy mess, so I'm okay with that. Um, and then you can blend them by applying, let's say, I'm going to do the gold and the green so you can see how they can easily be blended. I'll have a green in there. You can also use some odorless Gamsol oil like this. So you can use it to blend the two colors so you can have a more smooth gradient. But I really don't mind just using the Q-tip, applying a little bit of pressure. Basically, we're packing it in and then we're blending the two colors just like that. And I love with oil pastels, it's kind of like similar with the gelatos. We can layer light over dark. So that's always fun. Just like that. Of course, if you want to have a much smoother gradient, you can really pack it in, apply some pressure, and then all that. No, so you'll have this. Ooh, this is super bright. Like that. So you have a very soft gradient, like a blended look like that. But can we achieve that by just smudging? We can most definitely achieve that. So if you don't have a Q-tip, I'll give you a little bit of time to grab some, but I will be using my fingers. But if you don't want the mess, then definitely grab some Q-tips in there. So you can definitely blend that. And I love the look from creating both. I have never tried blending them with a Gamsol or the oil. So we can try today. Q-tip in here and just dipping it there and like that. So we're gonna go blend. This is when you really kind of like want that very, very smooth gradient. And I feel like I have, it's almost like diluting all those pigments. I'm not sure it's my favorite, but I'm pretty sure that different artwork, this will look really nice with that. So you definitely have a very, very smooth blend. See that? So much, much smoother blend. This one is smooth also. This one has oil, a little bit of drip of oil. So you can also use baby oil. I believe that you can use baby oil with the oil pastels, just not water. So that's the difference with the gelatos. Yeah, very smooth. Okay, so like what I said, I'm using a mixed media paper. Again, if you have like a white desk like mine, and if you want to protect it, there are a lot of like silicone mat that you can use and purchase. But I really don't mind. I have the baby wipes here, and I'll just make sure that I'll clean up right after. Now, when you're done with your painting, oil pastel requires some fixative. So there are many different brands, types of fixative, different finish and all that that you can get. I just have this one. It's like a clear finish. It's also gloss. Now you can there's like a matte, matte finish that you can get. I have gloss in there. So many different brands too. And I always have a baby wipes just on the side so I can do a little easy cleanup like that. All right. And then I'm going to use a painter's tape to kind of like create a border around my painting so we can have like clean lines. This is a little hard. Okay. Make sure I have a clean finish like this. Let's zoom it out. The soft pastels are very, very different. It's almost like it's going to be, it's almost like almost blurred. It's not the right word I'm trying to say. But it's very smooth finish. I feel like if you have added a lot of oil in the oil pastels and you really blend it, I feel like you can create that look by using the soft pastels. But the soft pastels will give you like almost not muted. That's not the color. Almost soft, very soft. That's the word. Very soft blended ingredient. And so it gives you different results by using different mediums. And the only thing to do is to really try and practice, play around with it, you know. That's if I didn't play around with the oil pastels, I wouldn't have discovered how much I love playing with it. How much I love creating like messy strokes, adding layers, and staying away from water. You know, it's just a different experience. I say if you like to blend around with water a lot, then I would suggest using the gelatos. But then again, the gelatos would be a little bit pricier than these oil pastels, but just different, very different. Okay, so with our painting today, it's going to be from if you've attended our class when we did the gelatos sunset painting, that was really fun. It's what we're going to do today is very similar to that. We're going to have it's divided into really into two if you think about it. We have the mountain area on top and the northern lights, and then we have a reflection of that in the water. So it's very similar. So two, if you it's divided into two. We have, if you want, you can choose to have more of the sky or more of the water. So it's up to you. I feel like I really want more of the sky. So I'm not going to divide my page into equal, space. So I'll have more of the water here. So 3/4 would be my sky, and then a little bit of the mountain there, and then more of the reflection in the water. So I'll have more sky. But if you decide you want more water, then you go for it. Okay, the colors that I'll be using today, the colors are not in the packaging, but if you look at I think the colors will be available here. I wish they're like in there, the names, but the numbers are there. So is it, or maybe the oil pastels are a different set, there's no number, because the oil pastels here, they have 186, 110. So maybe the metallic doesn't have any number or any color, which is very weird. But the oil pastel of Faber-Castell comes in 12 set, 24, and then the largest is the 36 colors. So that's going to be fun. I should get that one too. So lots of colors in that one. So the colors I'll be using, kind of like aqua, light green color, purple, light blue. I have a gold one. And then I'll use all the blue, different hues of blue in here, like that. And then when I said this is going to be a little bit of mixed media because I don't have other colors and I really want my mountain to be really dark, I'm pulling out some of my gelatos in here. So a little bit of mixed media because I don't have the black, but I'm using the black hole. And this is the iridescent set. If you don't have this color, if you have just like a black color, a dark blue color, whatever darkest that you have, grab that. And then I'll be using the coconut white gelatos. If you don't have it, you can skip it. There's like this really light blue in here, almost silver color that you can use for the reflection. I'm also using the PITT artist pen in white to create some nice star, just little dots that we're going to add in the end. So that's what I'll be using. This one is the white 101, which is the big PITT artist pen. So it has a very broad bullet tip like that. All right. I believe that, you know what? Let's look at the fixative. It says, I believe you can. I mean, I've used this for the gelatos. I've used it also for the pastels, the oil pastels. I'm wondering if I can see where there's anything that you can. It's just basically saying where you can use it. You can use it on projects on wood, pottery, stone, concrete, metals, glass. But I'm saying that yes, you can. I believe you can, Buffy. So this is quick drying and hard finish. Of course, when you use some fixative, make sure to spray outside or a well-ventilated space. Ooh, that can really be stinky. All right. Very, very welcome. Hi, Jill. I'm not sure. Did you guys get a wrong pastels? Do you have the soft pastels, Jill? Oh no. That's gonna be a different technique. Yeah, because it's going to be different. So, but anyways, if this class goes a little fast, remember that this is being recorded and then you can come back and watch it on Michael's YouTube channel. Okay, so that's one thing. That's because sometimes I have to go fast because we have a limit of an hour. Okay, so I'm going to start with, remember I said I'm going to divide them into two, but I want more sky. And so I'm going to draw like an imaginary line almost of, I'm just going to add my mountains. And so with mountains, don't overthink it. Just kind of like create like shape of mountains like that. Just so I can visualize and see where my division is from my water and my sky. All right. Oh, perfect. Oh, perfect, Chanel. Okay, good. All right. So I'm going to start with my light green. The the direction of our northern lights is going to almost like a wave, almost like a letter S. So that's what I'm going to do. But it's going to be wide on top. And then we're going to go aim for a very narrow at the bottom. So it's almost like it's coming from one direction over here. And it's going to fill your sky with all these beautiful lights. So we're going to create like a wavy line like this, almost like an S. And it's going to meet in underneath that mountain. So I'm going to start with mine like one, just like this. It's almost like a letter S, right? When I'm applying the pastels, I'm not applying it with heavy pressure. It's almost like light to medium pressure. So I'm going to start with another one. And then again, we want to go have narrow, wider on top. And then we go meet in the middle. And I'll have one more. And it goes down again here. So it's all coming from the middle part, just like that, right? And then I'm going to widen my stroke, add a little bit more in there. Again, I'm being very light with my pressure here. So just adding more. I'll come in here and just add that. Right. Perfect. Now I'm going to add, this is the aqua color, turquoise color. So I'll just add it in between. What we want is we want to create a white highlight, right? So I'm not going to go close. I'm going to leave a very small distance between the two colors. Very small. So we're almost creating a highlight in between. So that's the light. And I'll have one here. And then just adding just like that. And we're going to work in layers. It's going to be all about layers and trusting the process. Right. I'm going to grab my light blue. Actually, no, this is like the light blue silverish color. So I'm going to go for the middle tone. And I'm going to add some blue area here, like that. Remember, look, I have in between them, I always have like that space. Light pressure, light to medium. We just want to pack our colors in there, just like that. And then I'm going to use the purple color. Oh, perfect. So Jill, we're the same. Yeah, I didn't have numbers either. So sorry, I'll just use the color and I'll add a little bit of that purple in here. Just like that. And then a little bit here, there. Feel like I want to add more of that aqua color in here. Just like that. And I'll add a little bit of the blue on top of the aqua, just like that. Then now we're going to go work on the water. So this one I'm applying really light pressure. I don't want it to set on the paper because we're going to do a lot of blending over here in this area, but we just want to pack the colors, but just light pressure so you don't have too much. Just like that. And then I'll use the darkest blue that I have in this set. And I'll add it here. Almost like casting a shadow in here. And then we're going to blend that later. Just like that. Okay. I'll wait for you guys just to see this. See that. A little bit. All right, so this time I will be using my finger, my pointer finger, to blend. We're going to do a lot of smudging here. I want to start with the lightest green, the first color that we've applied. And so it's all about that stroke. We want to have one consistent stroke. It's almost like we're going to go down and meet everything in the middle right here because we're going to start with the northern lights first. And I'll start with the lightest green. So I'll just smudge and blend just like that. So you're almost like pulling some of that pastel and smudging it and moving it around just like this. Again, this project is not meant to look like perfect. It's really so this is supposed to be freeing and impressionistic. So don't worry about so much from perfection. And we're just in our first layer. Remember that we can add more to this. We're just in our base painting, basically. Right? And I'll do it again with that green. And just smudge one direction from the top, meet it at the bottom. The top to go just like that. Do it again, just like that. Now I'll come back in and we'll do that aqua color. This one I feel like I have applied more. I can feel it. Like I can really feel the product. Just like that. Because remember, we added a little bit of that blue. So if you feel like it's not moving around, you're having a little bit of difficult time, just add more pressure and really move those pastels. Really smudge them and blend them just like that. Okay. Around. Come back here. And don't worry if it reach your mountain because we're going to do something on that mountain later. So don't be overly careful. It's okay. Just be careful with your white part. We're going to need that. That's important. That highlight. So now I'm just smudging and blending. And now I can start blending the sky. I'll start from the top. And this one is like it's like up and down, back and forth, right? So you can do a circular also, but we want the stroke to be like this. We don't want it to smudge it in the circular motion. But if you're going to do a small circular, I believe it's okay. But if you can just do up, down, just back and forth motion like that, just so we can really blend these colors. And don't worry if it isn't perfect because we can add some more layers to this. Just like that. Then I'll blend this one too. My whole table, my whole desk is like moving. Because I'm really applying some pressure in here to really blend that area. All right. Then I'll go in here. You can also use some paper towel, for if you feel like, okay, I'm going to want to get rid of that texture. You can use your Q-tip or use some paper towel. And I think it's also going to depend on the paper that you're using. I'm using like a watercolor, but the it's the hot press one, so it doesn't have a whole lot of texture. Smoother. And I feel like with pastels, the more texture you have, um, it just depends, I guess, on what you're working with and the artwork that you're working with. Some will not want to have all the texture because that means you're going to have to fill in those ridges, the valleys in there. You want to fill in that so you don't have the white showing up. So the more texture you have, the more blending you're going to have to do. But, some people like that. So it just depends. I believe it's really a personal preference here. So I'm just gonna go in. See, I'm adding my layers now because it's all about the layers. Sometimes you're not gonna get it the first time around. So just work in layers. And here I'm gonna go upside down. And I'm losing my mountain. It's okay because we're gonna add that back up. So I'm just using the darkest blue that we have in this set. I'm going to come back in and add some of the purple. Just like that. I'm almost going to create now the one motion because I have created the background, the smoother background. So now I want to start adding more of the texture by using this stroke from the top to the bottom, just like that. So once I know that my background is smooth and blended, I want to add that strokes, the textures back in my paper. So I'm just going to come back in, be mindful of your stroke, just one at a time. So I'm just going to add that and then blend it again with one swoop. Just like this. I feel like I've moved this a lot. Just like that. There's something like so magical when you're like feeling the product in your finger and in your hand like that. So I'm going to use whatever purple I have in here and just kind of like add a little bit of touch of that to the green part. I really don't have a whole lot, but just like that. Then I can use the middle blue. So again, we have 3 different blues in here. I think this is a silver though. So I'm going to use the middle and add to the aqua color. Still, we're going to have to be careful with the white highlight because we're going to need that. But I'm just adding a little bit of that blue. Have that blue. Just like that. Just like that. I feel like it's so bright here. And then I'll add this one over here on top of the green. I'm just going to be careful to not lose my white. Just like that. And I'll use this is the darkest blue now that I'm using. And I would just swoosh and blend. If you feel like you want to add a bit more, feel free to do so. If you want to thicken some strokes, some of the width in here, just going to add a little bit there and then go in the middle. Just like that. And I'll do the same thing. I think I'm going to add a little bit of that middle blue here. Let's add that. As long as you go in one direction, just like this. So right now we're just concentrating on the sky. So this is the purple. I want to add a little bit of dark over here in this area. So just go. Oh, that's so pretty. This is one of my bucket lists to see this in person. Have you guys seen the Northern Lights in person? I haven't. Someday. Oh, Patricia. Ah, it's so beautiful. I bet it's so magical. I can just only imagine. I can like imagine it. Yeah, someday we will, Tina. But right now we're just gonna paint it because yeah, ah, that is so special. Someday, and I'll take lots of pictures, then we can paint it. It's gonna be fun. All right, then I want to add more of our deep purple in here to really accentuate that curve, all that. Northern Minnesota, Buffy. Wow. I have a friend that lives in Canada and she posts these beautiful pictures. And she says, "My backyard tonight." Oh, it's like so magical. Someday we'll see that. All right. See, when you're like, when you work in layers like this, I know it gets a little scary because the first layer is like, oh God, I can't, that's not blending. I don't know how to do it. It's not working for me. Just be patient, just trust that process. And I think that's the hardest thing to do is to trust that process because sometimes you're not seeing it. So it's like we just really have to work on layers like that. Patience. I can only imagine also, oh gosh, guys. I bet you it's so beautiful. Right now, I want to create a darker area right here, almost like cast of shadows here also. And then I'm just going to go like almost like in a circular motion, but might be hard to do that now because we have a lot of products in here. So I'm just going to really smudge and try my hardest to really blend it there. Just like that. I'm really happy with the sky. Feel like I just want to add a little bit more here, that purple, and then swoosh it down. It's so pretty. Okay, now for our C. Let me see. I want to create that reflection of the lights over here. Okay, so we're going to start with our green again. And then I'm going to go just like that. So we're casting that light reflection Just like that, right? And then the aqua color again. So same steps with a little space in between. Like that. So we'll start blending this first. Again, from that middle. Swoosh, swoosh. Just like that. Dark green and silver. Maybe it's like a dark green. Yeah, I've been calling it aqua, but it's maybe like a dark green to you, like that. So the light blue is almost like silver also. So like that. So we have that green, and then if you want to call it darker green, and then with the blue, there's like a silver or light blue, and then a middle tone blue, and then the darkest blue. And then we have the purple color. So then I'll swoosh this like that. This with this reflection in the water, I'm not overly trying hard to, or I'm not super careful with the white part. But if we can still create that, because we've already applied the light blue in there, so you're really not going to have that super bright white space. So that's why we're going to have to start adding like water reflection in here later, or we can use the gelatos also. Excuse me, or the white PITT artist pen. So we're to bring back some of that light or the white part in there. So I'm going to start using the darkest blue that I have and then start adding a dark area here. And then again, just blend it. Just like that. I feel like it depends on how much product you really put in there. So be careful with how much product, because the more products you have, and if you want to have that smooth gradient, then a whole lot of smudging to do, you know? So if you don't want to have those textures or the strokes of the pastels, which I really adore, then you have to blend harder. But if you don't mind it, then you'll see it. See the products in there. So you have a little bit of like products in there. I don't mind that, so I'm okay. Now we're going to use a purple to add, bring back some of that shadows in the corners, just like that. And then blend it. So I'm going to buy that big set that we can create more project with the pastels and the soft pastels too, of course. Ah, it's so pretty. I wish I didn't lose so much of that white space, that negative space, but it's okay. I'm okay. Right. Now, because I don't have a black, my darkest would be my, again, the gelatos that I have in here. But before that, I want to have more, I want to add a little bit more like highlights in here, but I want to clean my finger also. So just going to clean my finger with the baby wipes. You can easily clean it and see. And then I'm going to use the gold and then add some warmth to this one. It's also, oh, it's going to be so beautiful. So just add a little bit here and there in some areas, just like that. And then you smudge it again. I'm not going to smudge this a whole lot because I really want that gold in there to pop as well. It adds magic to it. Just like that. I feel like I'm not going to have like a clean color on top. I can already see it. So I want to smudge that a little bit. So when I take out the tape later, I'll have a pretty blend in there. This one too at the bottom. I'm just going to really blend it. This is like a workout. It's like I can finally tell my kids I want to work out today. This is hard work. All right, so I want to bring back some of that dark or the purple one that I have smudged. I'm just gonna blend again. The key is to have that white highlight. We really want to keep that in there because that's what's, making it super magical. The separation. And then I'm going to bring back the gold just like that. And then I'm going to add some short strokes. This one I'm not going to blend. I'm just going to let these sit in there and pop. So almost like a flicking motion. Some are coming in from the bottom to the top, just like that. That's beautiful. That's pretty. Over here, I can still see a little bit of that paper texture, which I think I don't necessarily like very much. So I'm just going to add that blue, that middle blue. And then I'm just going to smudge. So if you feel like you still have some of the paper texture showing up and you don't like it, just add some layer and then blend. Just like that. Great. Now a time for our, if you have a black oil pastel, use it. I don't, so I'm going to use the black hole, the iridescent, and I'm going to bring my mountain back. I'm just going to add that. So this one is like oil pastels. It's creamy. It's very smudgeable, blendable, but at the same time, it's also water soluble. I love using the gelatos. It's like having oil pastels and then watercolor pigment sticks also at the same time. They're also waterproof and permanent once they're dry. If you don't blend it very well, kind of like the oil pastels, it may transfer a little bit, but I've never had any issues with transfer from gelatos because I always blend it very well. So there's my mountain. Don't worry if it's not perfect. There's some I think I want to use some of the baby wipes in here just to have like a better, smoother lines on top for the mountains, just like that. So I use the Q-tip for that one. And then now I'm just going to use my finger. I want the dark colors to bleed to the sides, almost like that reflection. So I'm just going short strokes. It's very small, very slow also, like a back and forth with my pointer. And then when I get to the edge, to the sides, I'm just going to bring them down. Just like this. And then I'll come back in again. And then very slow, just dragging those pigments and blending it. At first, when I used it, I thought it will not blend, but they really blended very well. I was questioning the blendability together with the oil pastels because this is water-based. So it's like that. And then again, bring it down to the sides. Just like that. And I'm smoothing this out. It's like a very smooth gradient. Very soft blend also. Look at that, short strokes and circular motion. Very light pressure at the same time. I don't want to pick up any more of the products. I want it to stay in there, but at the same time, I want to create a very soft blend. And no harsh lines here at the bottom. I feel like I've picked up a whole lot of that product over here. So I'm just going to go back in and just apply just a tad bit, right? And then do the same thing. And just bring it down. Just like that. And remember, I was adding darkness in here also, but I couldn't because I didn't have the purple was not dark enough. Hey, Blush. Blush is trying to take over the keyboard. That's so cute. Okay, so I added just a little bit in the corner, just small, and then I'm going to go circular motion this time. And then back and forth in the middle, just like that. So just like that. So once you feel like, you've blended it well enough. So when I'm doing circular motion like this, I want a soft blending. If you see me rocking back and forth, that's when I'm almost like pushing all those pigments and really spreading them out. But when I'm doing a circular, that's when I want a smooth gradient. I want a very soft blend. So with this one, almost like applying it, moving it around, and then stroke back and forth, back and forth. And then with pressure, you're moving all those pigments. And then with soft, go soft. So play around with the amount of pressure you're using when you're moving your products around. That's the only time you're gonna get used to it. I'm like, okay, if I apply this much pressure, I know that I'll be picking up too much of that pigment and I won't have enough products to blend. I picked it all up or spread it all out. So just kind of play around with that amount of pressure that you have. So that looks really good. Now I'm questioning how much more blue I want to bring back in here. But I think it's okay because we're like casting a shadow, almost like a reflection of that mountain here at this bottom part. Like that. Okay, so I think that's really nice. I love it. Now we're going to add a little bit of that reflection. Okay, so that white, that water ripple almost. And so this is where the gelatos would come in, or we can also use the PITT artist pen. So we can try both. I mean, that's why it's like sometimes I like the effect of the PITT artist pens. The PITT artist pens, they're India ink. They are waterproof when they're dry, and the PITT artist pens are really an amazing marker. There's India inks are they're water-based India ink. They're water soluble. You can blend it with water. But the thing with the India inks is that they dry really fast. So you really have to work a little bit faster because once they're dry, they're permanent. But they're so versatile also. So I'm just doing short strokes. Notice how I'm not holding my pen here because I don't want too much control. I want to be loose with the control that I have. So I'm holding it almost to the end, maybe middle, but almost to the close to the end. And I'm just going to almost dab light a touch and just using the end of the marker to create those beautiful short ripples to show reflections of the water. So it's almost like small dashes. Now, if you want to blur them out, you can use your finger like what we did and just kind of go over on top. So we don't have this very stark white. It's almost just like very, very small, tiny ripples, just like that. You can blend it and then smudge it just like that. If you want a longer blurred stroke, let me zoom it in just so you guys can see. Like that. And we'll go in like that, right? So it's very sharp and I don't want that. So I'm just going to go back in and then smudge it as well. And go on the side. Now that looks much better. We don't want any of those sharp. So with this one, at the same time, you want to play around with the length. So you want to have some are longer, some are short like that. Dab, dab, smudge. Like that, right? Because of course, the closer it gets to you, it looks bigger. Everything that's like closer to you looks larger. And so the distance, this makes it very, very small, short strokes here. So it's like really tiny in there. Just like that. Very, very small. And then just play around with that. Add a little bit more. Smudge it like that. In art, there is no better tool than your hands and your fingers. I find it much, much more enjoyable when I'm like working with my fingers and doing like this. I can feel the product. I really love it. You know, if you feel like you didn't get it right this time around, practice. Practice again. You know, next time maybe play around with the colors. Maybe you have different colors that you want to use. You can do it again. Just like that. Now we're going to add some stars. And so I'm going to hold my pen upside down like this. And I'm just going to use the point to give me like small dots. And I'm just using this marker to add dots all over to give us the stars. Let there be light. I'm using it close to that tip because I really want to have a bit of control, but at the same time, feeling very loose as well, and just letting the marker do its job. We're using the tip, the shape of the bullet nib to create those beautiful tiny little speck of stars. Just like that. And then this is it. I mean, wasn't that hard. I mean, it was a workout. There was a lot of smudging, but we had lots of fun and we didn't need the gelatos, didn't we? I mean, you can always use the gelatos. If you have the gelatos, you can just go in like what we did with the marker, just like that, and then smudge it also. So you see, you can add it as well. Like I want to add a little bit of white in there. The thing with the gelato sometimes is like they get really flaky, although they're still going to work the same. But having the marker, the tip of the marker, I feel like it was more stable. That was much better for me to use. I can get clear, sharp lines and then smudge it. But isn't that so beautiful? Now, this is the best part. This is the most satisfying part, is like peeling the tape. Now, some papers, you'll peel some of that surface, you know, and if you don't want to do that, if you want to avoid that, then you can use a heat gun or a blow dryer, just kind of like go over the paper first to warm that surface, and then you won't have any issues of the paper peeling or the tape ruining your artwork. And so I'm just going to go slow. Oops. You can see this one really tore the surface of my paper. It's okay. Make sure to date your work. It really is very helpful. I have an envelope that has past artwork, and looking at it, it's like I can see where, oh wow, first time I did this one was not as pretty. So the more you see your progress, you can track your progress that way, doing like that. So just be very gentle with yourself, compare yourself to your past version of yourself, and just be patient. I mean, you've seen us in the beginning when we applied all those colors. We're like, we are not going to go anywhere with that one. And sometimes, trust me, you're not alone. I doubt myself too. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't think we're going to go create anything pretty, but you have to trust the process. So thank you all so much. Again, that was really, really relaxing. I was playing around creating some future classes. So I have like a beautiful watercolor class that we're going to do. We're going to paint a whale. We're going to draw a humpback whale. We're going to do some watercolors with that, and maybe a mixed media with gelatos, an underwater scene with some mermaid, silhouette of a mermaid. So I have so many things in plans. So don't forget to check on classes and events at michaels.com for future classes like this. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope it was inspiring. I thank you all so much for spending some time with us here with Michaels and Faber-Castell today. Again, my name is Leigh Bella Rolson. As always, stay creative and stay happy. Until next one, bye everybody.